What's going on, everyone? The market was kind of a bloodbath today as SPY retested its low from June of this year, but in after hours, Meta is showing some pretty good potential so far, and it's moving to the upside after they just reported earnings. In today's video, we're going to cover Meta earnings, some great predictions and setups for tomorrow, and I'll tell you guys, today we had the weirdest glitch slash problem slash maybe manipulation in the market that we have honestly seen in a long time. You guys are not going to believe this, but for a second, the options market just stopped trading throughout the day. So stick with us today. We have a great video, but with that being said, Tom, let's get right into it.
Yeah, that market was a bloodbath, like you said, and we've been watching this 419 to 420 support on the SPY here for the past couple weeks, and today we had a pretty solid move to the downside and down under there. It kind of followed down off of Google's earnings yesterday, and talking about Google, they had a pretty bad sell-off today as well, and this just sparked sell-offs all across the market. Tesla even ran down to lows after running up this morning. Like, they were actually doing pretty good at first, and then started turning back over as, I would say, the bears started regaining control. Mike, that SPY made a new low going all the way back to June, and if we go out to a daily chart, we're definitely breaking below those recent lows very, very well, and I think we're starting to finally fall under that recent trend line in a very big way too. So we're seeing the floodgates start to open here, and a lot of these plays that we've been talking about, like SQQQ and UVXY, started popping off in a crazy way here.
Very beautiful. And talking about crazy things, let's talk more about this glitch from today. So basically, out of nowhere today, the U.S. options market just stopped. Like, it completely froze. And what's interesting is you will see all over Twitter these posts just like this one where, you see that the Chicago Board of Options Exchange it just said there's an issue related to the options market. But what's interesting is when you go to Google the issue, you can't find anything. Like, no news companies are reporting on this. Like, it's very hard to find out what actually happened today. But the problem is a lot of people got screwed over because they couldn't buy options. They couldn't sell them. It's just like the whole market completely froze. Tom, I don't think I've ever seen anything like this.
I have not either, and I'm really surprised that there's not more news coverage on this. I think a lot of traders are going to be very pissed off from this. If this glitch affected you today, which I'm sure it did because we have a lot of day traders out there, let me know in the comments. It was obviously big enough for Gavin and some of the bigger Twitter people to start talking about it, and I saw a lot of upset people in Discord today, to say the least. I'm saying upset very lightly here. I think there was a lot of money lost because of this, and it angered quite a bit of people. So it's wild, Mike. These glitches happen sometimes with brokers. They happen sometimes, maybe like, let's say the internet goes out within a whole city or something, but usually it's not something where the whole options market gets frozen for like 30 minutes.
Exactly. Like, I can understand, like, if for whatever reason a brokerage has some errors or problems for some time, I get it. But it's like when you're talking about the U.S. option market, you shouldn't be having problems like this. And it's like, I don't know what their deal is, but they have to put some better safeguards in place to make sure something like this doesn't happen again. But that's the drama for the day. And hopefully tomorrow we don't see the same issue. But Tom, talking about Meta earnings today. At first, Meta stock started tanking in after hours, but before we knew it, it's back to the upside. So what's going on with this earnings report and what's the story?
Yeah, it's wild. It really dropped down at first. I was kind of laughing, and then it came all the way back up, and now I'm like cheering Meta on. Hopefully it can keep going. I know a lot of people were playing calls here to the upside today, but these earnings that came out, I thought were pretty damn good, Mike. Now, they're not necessarily wowing, but if we're talking EPS, it beat by quite a bit. It came in at 4.39 versus a 3.63 expectation. That's a hell of a lot higher than a lot of the EPS misses and beats that we've been seeing lately. It's good to see them coming in quite higher there. The revenue also beat by a little bit, so that's great. The daily active users were higher. The monthly active users came in right at expectations, so it seems like a pretty good earnings support for Meta. And, one thing that I am worried about is maybe the outlook. I can't wait to hear what they say in their conference call, but right now they're running up very well in after hours, and the initial numbers look fantastic.
Good stuff. And, their revenue jumped 23% year over year as well. But, when you beat on profit expectations and revenue expectations and overall, there's just, decent news out there. That's what we see in after hours. So, Meta stock is running in a pretty good way so far. Tom, in terms of like price action and levels and just, I guess you could say market sentiment for Meta, what are you seeing?
Yeah, there's a big level here with Meta. We were actually breaking $300 at the end of day today. I was kind of laughing because in Discord, I said, how many stops do you think triggered end of day today? Like, how many traders had stop losses at like 299.40 or 299 or 298.90 or somewhere around there, right? But that $300 support is huge. So over the next few days, it's going to be crucial to watch that. If you want more of an intraday level to watch for tomorrow as a support, I think this 302 support looks pretty good. There was a wick in after hours that touched there, and there was a couple times intraday that the stock got very close to there as well. To the upside though, 310 and 315 are major levels. I'll be watching those very, very closely as the stock trades tomorrow. Obviously that's the high of after hours right around 315, but you can see I've had these supports here for a long time, and now they're going to be acting as resistance now that we're down below here.
Good stuff. And while Meta stock is doing good so far in after hours, it isn't all sunshine and rainbows. Meta is literally being sued by almost every single state in the United States. Basically, their lawsuit is because they kind of made their platforms, Facebook and Instagram, a little bit too addictive, and they're like targeting kids, so definitely not cool, and they're definitely facing some heat right there. So just keep that in mind going forward. This might put a little bit of a damper on some of the bullish price action.
Yeah, and there's been some good movies that have came out that kind of talk about how these social media companies try to be as addictive as possible, obviously to target as broad of an audience as possible, including kids. And who's the most impressionable people out there, right? It's usually kids. So it's obviously pretty weird that they do that, but at the same time, I guess they're going to do whatever makes them money, right? So let's be honest, the majority of us have probably been on Facebook or Instagram or something like that for a little too long at one time or another, if we're being honest. It's a pretty addictive platform.
Yep, that's how they're made. So keep a close eye on Meta going forward. Earnings always adds in that extra volatility. But Tom, we have even more exciting earnings reports coming out tomorrow. What's on the schedule?
It's still huge here. So tomorrow is honestly going to be bigger than today, in my opinion. Today we had Boeing and Meta as the main two big players, I'd say. Tomorrow, UPS and pre-market. That is going to be huge, I think. They've been dealing with those union changes there, and maybe that'll hurt their outlook or something. I'm really curious to see how that one goes. But in after hours, we're going to see Amazon. And I think Amazon is going to give us a much better look at how consumers are holding up right now. Meta, Microsoft, Google, those are great, right? It doesn't really deal with consumers purchasing products as much, where I feel like Amazon is a much different deal, right? Like obviously AWS is king, of course, for them, but we're going to get a lot of those sales numbers come out too. So I can't wait to see what they report. And then Enphase, Intel, Ford in after hours as well. Those are big players. Enphase and Intel are no jokes as well.
Good stuff. Well, keep a close eye on those as well, but let's get right into some setups for tomorrow. A stock I'm watching so closely right now is XHB. So XHB, if we go to a daily chart, is actually a stock that we talked about earlier this month. Basically, we highlighted a $1.7 million put play, big money trade on this one. And ever since we talked about that one, the stock has been plummeting. So I was a huge fan of this setup right when it came out. Feel free to check the video on October 18th. But looking at it right now, basically it follows home building stocks with the way interest rates are right now, with the way the economy is, with the way the market itself is. I think these home building companies have some more room to the downside. So I'm pretty bearish on XHB going forward. That doesn't mean they have to fall tomorrow, but over the next couple weeks and months, I think there's a pretty good opportunity to the downside.
I'm glad you highlighted this one, Mike. This is awesome to see. The big money must be up a lot right now on these options. They put 1.7 million into these, and we've been watching it ever since then. So looking good, Mike. I love it. I love it because the big money, obviously, they usually don't put $1.7 million into shorting home builders of all things, unless, the market is maybe not good for home builders. Right now it's terrible. I heard Powell say home builders were under stress during one of his speeches. That was pretty big statement I heard. And considering how much stress is going on in the market right now, I know Meta's moving up in after hours, so it might ruin this play a little bit. But I'm watching this supporter on QQQ. We recently broke this level right around 351. That was a huge recent support. There was a few great bounces there. We broke it today, but if we're able to get down below like 349.50, I'll be watching more puts on QQQ. A lot of tech stocks sold off today. AMD ran down, Microsoft, Google. It was a pretty bad day from the point the market opened, right? A lot of these stocks, even if they've been running up, they fell down. Like Tesla, it did great early on and then had a bad end of day. So I'm watching QQQ to the downside as that support breaks.
Sounds great. Another stock I'm watching pretty closely is Tesla. Now, Tesla got smackarooed a little bit after their earnings report, and they don't really have too much good bullish pressure right now. So I am looking for a possible earnings continuation on this one to the downside. Right now it's lingering around that $212 level. And I feel like if the market keeps moving like the way it did today, I think there's a good shot that we could see a retest of $200. And, if the selling pressure really kicks in, we can break below that major support and get to, the 190 area.
Man, getting down to 200 here in the short term would be a pretty big move here. So I would love that, Mike. And I think it's definitely possible given all the short-term price action that we've been seeing. I'll definitely keep Tesla on the radar for tomorrow. And with all these stocks selling off, I'm kind of going to go with a different sector here, which is ExxonMobil. I'm going back to oil. If I go to CL, which is crude oil futures here, they had a pretty good pop today off of lower support. So I will be watching Exxon back up. It's been moving down quite a bit lately, but it's starting to base off that 108 support. And if we see some good momentum, maybe above like 109, I'll be watching for a test of 110 and then 111 after that. So let's go with the oil plays. Hopefully oil starts popping up again. And I feel like that Middle East turmoil might push it a little bit higher here.
No doubt. All right, well, let's get right into the momentum plays for tomorrow. And with the first one, we have old, reliable Palantir, but it's to the downside.
Man, I didn't know what stock you meant first here. But yeah, Palantir's like a fan favorite. It's been really falling off. I feel bad. I keep looking at Palantir and even a few other of these growth stocks lately have been crazy the way they've been falling. But if they get below 1550, go ahead and look at puts.
All right, with the next one, we have the recently popular GLD to the upside.
Yeah, it's always been popular to us, but of course, whenever it starts going up, it gets that good momentum. I loved how it had that nice double top today, very close to like 184.25. So if we're able to get above there with some good momentum, I like it to the upside.
Good stuff. And the last one's a crazy one. It's with interest rates, and it is TLT for both directions.
Yeah, TLT was nuts today. I felt bad. Those yields started rising up again. If TLT is able to get down under this low, right around $83 even, then I'll go ahead and look at some puts. But at the same time, if they start running back up and we see yields start to drop and they're able to break back above 83.50, then go ahead and look at calls. It's going to be one of those plays that you just have to feel out tomorrow. And as we know, yields are going to play a big role. So watch TNX and US20Y and all of those if you want to, get more information on it.
All right, so we have the downside level on TLT. If it breaks below that, we're watching it down. We have the upside level as well, so don't forget about that. If it breaks above that, we're watching it to the upside. And then don't forget with GLD, with that upside level, and then Palantir with its downside level. But Tom, it is now about that time for today's big money $1.4 million trade of the day. And we are looking at ticker symbol DOCN. So someone plowed $1.4 million into the DOCN $22.50 strike call options that expire pretty soon, actually, on November 17th of 2023. This company's called DigitalOcean. They have a lot to do with cloud computing and all that good stuff. In terms of charting, it's pretty oversold. It is pretty close to a major support at $20 a share. And looking at it right now, it makes sense why the big money is buying call options on this, because it's oversold, and you're coming pretty close to a big support as well. Overall, the setup has potential. It's not for me just because I like other big money setups more than this one, but it's definitely not bad.
Mike, is this actually a big money play that is going to play earnings here? I mean, they have earnings coming up on November 2nd, and I'm not saying to play earnings on this, but man, this is interesting, guys. If they hold through these earnings, I'll have to keep an eye on this chain to see if they do hold through it or not. It's not necessarily my favorite setup either, but with how oversold it is, I think that there could possibly be a good pop back to the upside, and it doesn't even have to be that crazy for these options to explode. Like, imagine if this just gets back to the $25 resistance from a couple weeks ago. That would be a hell of a lot higher than the current strike price. So I'm sure it would be, from today, pretty damn good. So I like the play, but it just is a little bit risky. I wouldn't go all into it. Obviously, keep your risk management correct. And I kind of like it with the stop loss of under 20, like you said. That would be pretty smart.
All right, sounds good. Well, if you guys are looking for some of the best plays on a day-by-day basis, check out the first link in the description and the comments down below. Our bots crushed it today. We had an SQQQ call option play. It was the 20 strike calls that were alerted at $129 each. They ran all the way up to $196 each. Every single day, we have bots that call out day trade setups. We have, Sniper Bot, Hybrid Bot, SM Bot, a bunch of great bots that, look for the best opportunities every single day. Of course, not every single play wins, but the bots do a very great job, and we are seeing some extremely crazy new updates in just a couple of weeks. So if you guys like what you see now, your jaw will drop when you see what's coming. So get in on the action. We have a great program here. It's the best program for short-term traders, and you also get access to these big money, multi-million-dollar trades that we talk about in every single video, but you get access to them before the market closes each day. And if you are already all set with your trades, but you just want to chat with members and chat with Tom and myself all day long, that works too. We spend our lives in this Discord, and you can chat with us as much as you want. So definitely check it out. It's that first link in the description and the comments down below. But with that being said, Tom, do you have any last minute thoughts on the market or anything going on right now?
Yeah, one final thing here is that actually, while we're recording here, Jerome Powell has actually been speaking at his event. And notice that the SPY has not been going too crazy or anything like that. Remember, this is just the opening, or the introductory remarks at the 2023 Moynihan Lecture in Social Science in Washington, D.C. So it's not like it's that crazy. It's not about the FOMC or anything, but just keep in mind, this could maybe move the markets a little bit. So just keep that on the radar. It's kind of going on, though, as we're recording right now.
Yep, no doubt. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're looking to take action or take advantage of this recent price action, definitely check out that first link in the description and the comments down below. And I hope you guys are ready to roll with the earnings we have tomorrow. The earnings this week has been pretty exciting, but, being honest with you guys, it has also been pretty negative. We can see just looking at the market today, I promise you there was a lot more selling pressure than there was buying pressure. So let's have a great end of the week. If you're new, don't forget to subscribe, and let's crush it, guys. Thanks for watching.